All right, man. It's a sad, sad story, man. I remember watching. They had a documentary on this. I was watching with my mom quite a few years ago. Lorenzen Wright, and now his family can find closure. He passed away in 2010 in his hometown of Memphis, Tennessee, and pretty much they caught one of the suspects, and it was her, and it was his wife. But let's talk about it. We back. Goodfellas Sports TV. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Won't miss another video. Share the video, and ESPN article I link in the description. And his wife Shara Wright. They had 6 kids together, and she pled guilty to 30 years. And after 30% of that time, I think that's like what, 9 years. About 30% of that time. She'd be eligible for parole. So, the prisons are packed up. So, you know how that go. So she struck a deal in the 23rd hour. And what happened was, this is vague. Me remembering what happened watching that documentary. And it's funny how you got life, you completely forget about stories. And remember, this happened almost the beginning of this decade, 2010. And he had went over her house. I guess it was still his house that he had, but he was no longer living there. They broke up. He went over the house to pick up some things from the house. And pretty much after he left her house, he pretty much went missing. All right. He went missing. And I remember Penny Hardaway in the Memphis community looking for him. And he was an NBA player, played for the Clippers, the Grizzlies, a few teams. And they found his body 10 days later. And they didn't know what happened, but they did know when he left the ex-wife house that he went missing. Now, according to the article I put in the description, her and another man that he going to trial, he's a landscaper in the suburb of Memphis. They met at church, but she had hired a couple men to handle the business of Lorenzen Wright to kind of get rid of him to keep it clean, and they missed or they missed the opportunity. And I don't know if the landscaper was a part of that 2-man crew, but the landscaper dude is the guy she met at church. Ironically, she met him at church, and he's a landscaper, and pretty much he pleaded to a gun charge, and I guess the gun that was allegedly used in the crime, he dumped it in the Mississippi Lake. To Tennessee and Mississippi, they're not too far away, I don't believe. He dumped it in the lake, and they found it, and he's gonna be going to trial sometime in September 16th or something like that. And he's fighting a murder trial, but if he a landscaper, he doing well for himself. He got a few dollars, you know what I'm saying, to fight the case. Now I don't think she gave him up. Obviously, she gave him up. He would be, no point. But that's what happened. And she got $1 million for the life insurance money. The defense, on the behalf of Lorenzen Wright and his family, defense attorney said she didn't think it was for the money. All right, she didn't think it was for the insurance money, and they had 6 kids together. And I can get that. At the end of the day, they got 6 kids. She was getting money from him still for the 6 kids. Now, if she was going to court in the trial, and she was very close to going to trial, her defense was going to be that he was beating her multiple times. And where have we heard that before? Every woman that does this to their husband or to a man, it always goes, he beat me. He might have pushed her against the wall back in 1995 or something like that. And now she can take that little white lie and say he beat me. When he left the house that night, from my vague memory, not even vague, from my vivid memory of this part, when he left the house that night of the documentary, it was no abuse, he wasn't putting hands on her or nothing. That wasn't even part of the documentary, if I remember, maybe vaguely. It was he put his hands on me. I think they might have had an argument, and he took his box and left, and then he never was heard on from there. So they had 6 kids together, and she didn't think of her 6 kids. And if he was beating her like that, then the police should have been called, at the house. Now, I don't know if it's a record of him putting his hands on her, but obviously they were going, according to the article, the defense was going to tear that story apart. And, pretty much she was going to jail. If he really beat her, and that was the reason why you don't cop a plea, you go to trial like your homeboy going to trial, and you try to beat it. If she was going to trial, she was going to be facing life in jail. And now she's facing a minimum or a maximum of 9 years. If my math is right, could be off 30% of 30 years. So she'd be out of 9 years, but you know, she did a disjustice to her 6 kids. And I don't know, I don't believe the beating story. This is my personal opinion. But I really want to know why she did it, because he left her, but you got 6 kids, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, he was seen like a strong guy in the community, a stand-up guy. You didn't hear too many bad stories around him. We all got our downfalls, and nobody's perfect. But it seemed like she was hurt or scorned or whatever the situation may be. She had 6 kids, so she was taken care of for a nice amount of her life. But, you know, I would like to hear why she did it. But the family confronted her, the mother, she confronted her. And the mother, you know, she took the high road after a decade of going through this. They had a feeling that she did it. Because me and my mom had a feeling she did it just watching the doc. And I want to hear what Penny got to say, too, because he's around the community. But she basically took the high road and said, you know, at least they he left behind 6 beautiful children. And they pretty much live on through him. And that's what she got. You know, after 10 years, you know, it's unfortunate, man, that you know, it took a decade to close this case. And she got to sit there and live her life, and his life ended. He got life, like his mother said. He got life. He did. But I just wanted to do a video because it's something I followed through this case. You know, hopefully the kids grow up, and that's a messed up situation to grow up in, and they prosper and they get stronger. But I linked the article in the description. Unfortunately, it had to end this way. But church and a wife, you know, tell me we heard that before. The hypocrisy of the Black Christian church. But don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, or video request. Keep sharing the videos. Appreciate the love, support, man. And you know, let me know something. If you want to make a donation, I link there as well. 2 best way to donate: just share the video one time for the one time we gone.